The unwinding clock. A surgeon's hands are trained to defy one thing above all else, an ending. We are taught a sacred arrogance, a belief that with enough skill, enough precision, enough knowledge, we can stand at the edge of the abyss and tell it, not today. We learn the intricate cartography of the human body, the delicate pathways of nerves, the relentless rhythm of a heart. We become masters of the physical, the tangible. We hold life warm and fragile between our fingers. My name is Stephen Strange. At least, it was. That name belongs to a man who believed the universe could be understood through a microscope, who thought the greatest mysteries were hidden in the folds of the human brain. He was a man who measured success and saved lives, and measured his own worth in the steadiness of his hands. Those hands, they built a kingdom. A kingdom of accolades, of wealth, of perfectly executed procedures. A kingdom built on the illusion of control. Then, one rainy night, on a winding road, that illusion shattered. The screech of tires, the impact, the blinding pain. It was more than the breaking of bone and the tearing of flesh. It was the sound of my universe collapsing. The instruments of my godhood, my hands, were rendered useless, shaking, scarred, prisoners of 1,000 shattered nerve endings. The kingdom fell, and in its ruins I began a different kind of search, not for a cure, but for a miracle. I was a man of science, a man of fact, and I went looking for magic. The irony is not lost on me. I found it. Oh, I found it. In Kamar Taj, I found more than just a way to mend my hands. I found that the universe was infinitely larger, stranger, and more terrifying than my medical textbooks could ever have conceived. I learned that reality itself was a fabric, and that some could learn to pull at its threads. I traded my scalpel for spells, my surgical scrubs for a cloak with a mind of its own. I, who had once mapped the human nervous system, was now charting the pathways of the multiverse. The surgeon who defied endings was now tasked with guarding time itself, the ultimate irony, the ultimate test. But the arrogance of the surgeon never truly leaves you. It just changes its shape. It metastasizes. I thought I could learn the rules of this new, impossible game. I thought I could master them, just as I had mastered the delicate dance of a craniotomy. I thought control was still possible, just on a grander, more cosmic scale. I was a fool. A brilliant, powerful, well-intentioned fool. And then came Titan. Then came Thanos. Then came the stone. Do you know what it's like to hold infinity in your palm? Not as a concept, not as a philosophical exercise, but as a tangible, pulsing green gem that whispers every might have been and every will be into your soul. The time stone isn't a tool. It's a poison. A beautiful, terrible poison that shows you everything, all at once. And with it, I went looking for a way out, for a path to victory. 14,605. That's the number. Everyone knows the number now. It's become a piece of trivia, a testament to my foresight, my calculation. They don't understand. I didn't just see them. I didn't watch them on some mystical movie screen. I lived them. I lived every single one of those 14,605 futures. I felt the snap of his fingers, the dust of my own body turning to ash over and over and over again. I felt the cold victory of Thanos in a million different timelines. I watched my friends die in ways you cannot imagine. I saw worlds burn. I saw hope extinguished in every language, on every planet, across every possible permutation of the battle. I fought. I strategized. I sacrificed every piece on the board, including myself, millions of times. I died, and died, and died again. Each death, a lesson. Each failure, a scar on my soul that no magic can heal. I felt the agony of a reality where we won, but at the cost of the earth itself, cracked and barren. I lived through a future where we saved half, only to be consumed by something far worse that slithered in through the cracks we'd made. I experienced timelines so full of Pyrrhic victories they were indistinguishable from defeat. I walked through the ashes of every bad decision, every wrong turn, every moment of hesitation. And in all of that horror, all of that endless repeating failure, there was one. Just one. One path. One sequence. One impossibly narrow, razor-thin tightrope of a chance. It sounds like hope, doesn't it? One chance is better than none. When I came out of that trance, shaking, older than I had been minutes before, that's what they saw in my eyes. The answer, the plan. They saw the Sorcerer Supreme who had found the way. They didn't see the executioner, because that one single, precious, victorious future had a price. A terrible, specific, unavoidable price. It wasn't a flaw in the plan, it wasn't a variable I could solve for. It was the cornerstone. The entire architecture of our victory was built on a foundation of one man's sacrifice. A man who was arrogant and brilliant and infuriating. A man who had become a friend. A man with a daughter. My surgical training told me to save the life in front of me. The Hippocratic oath, first, do no harm, was burned into my very being. For years, I had believed that was the absolute fundamental law of my universe. Every patient was the whole world. You save them. Period. But the Sorcerer Supreme doesn't have the luxury of saving just one life. The sorcerer has to weigh them. The surgeon performs the procedure. The sorcerer does the calculus, the terrible cosmic calculus. What is one life, even a great one, when weighed against half of all existence? The answer seems simple, doesn't it? Logical, inevitable. But it's not an equation on a chalkboard. It's looking a man in the eye, knowing you are setting him on a path that leads to his grave. It's handing over the very thing you swore to protect, the weapon our enemy desired most, and calling it a strategy. I gave Thanos the time stone. I gave him the key. Everyone, even he, thought I was surrendering, that I had chosen to save my own life over the fate of the universe. The look of surprise on Tony's face, the betrayal, it was a necessary part of the sequence. I had to let him believe I had broken. That was the first cut, the first part of the procedure, to sever the trust of my allies to ensure the outcome, to play the part of the coward so the hero could find his courage. For 5 years I was dust, a silent, scattered witness to the aftermath of my own grand design. And when we came back, when I stepped through that portal and saw him there, on the battlefield, I saw the end of the thread I had first spooled out on Titan. I saw the final, awful, perfect move of the game. He looked at me. Across the chaos, our eyes met. He was looking for confirmation, for an answer. And I just raised a single finger. One chance. He understood. In that single silent moment, he understood the entirety of the burden I had carried. He saw the terrible blueprint, and he didn't hesitate, he accepted it. The surgeon in me screamed. It screamed to intervene, to find another way, to break the sequence, to save the man in front of me. That part of me, the part that was Stephen Strange, wanted to tear reality apart to save Tony Stark. But I wasn't just Stephen Strange anymore. I was the guardian of the one way I had to be. I had to watch him assemble the gauntlet. I had to watch the power of the cosmos course through his human body, burning him from the inside out. I had to watch him snap his fingers, and I had to watch him die, surrounded by the family he had just saved. I made the choice on Titan, but he paid the price on Earth. I was the architect of the victory, but he was its heart. And I had to stand there and let that heart stop beating. That is a wound that time does not heal. It is a ghost that sits with me here, in the quiet of the sanctum. It is the echo in every ticking clock, the echo of the choice I made, the choice to sacrifice the one to save the many. It was the right choice. It was the only choice, and it will haunt me for eternity. I used to think the greatest power was to bend reality to your will, to rewrite the code of existence. I was wrong. The greatest power, the heaviest power, is to see the one correct path and to have the strength, the cold, brutal strength to walk it, no matter the cost, no matter who has to fall. The universe isn't a patient on an operating table. It's not a disease to be cured. It's a tapestry of infinite, interwoven threads of choice and consequence. And my job is not to fix it. My job is to protect it. Sometimes that means making a clean cut, severing a thread, no matter how bright, to keep the whole pattern from unraveling. My hands are steady again, they don't shake anymore. Not from nerve damage, anyway. I can conjure shields of shimmering energy, open doorways to other dimensions, manipulate the very air I breathe. I can do things the surgeon I once was would have called impossible, miraculous. But I can never again perform the simplest of procedures. I can never again hold a scalpel and save one single ordinary life. I sacrificed that man, Stephen Strange, along with everything he believed in. I sacrificed him on an alien world, in the dust, somewhere in the middle of 14,605 apocalypses. And what remains is the Sorcerer Supreme, a title, a duty, a sentinel, a man who holds the line and who carries the weight of all the seconds we bought. Every single one.